All right, I think we are live. Hey everybody, Sean Q here, your high ticket sales coach, and happy Saturday. I am in like some casual clothes today just because it's more comfy and it's a Saturday. And we got some really incredible people here today who are like so ready and so excited to be able to pour into you and answer your questions. We got a couple of people in the inner circle with us as well. We got Rochelle and Makita, we got Ola. So good to see you. And we got a couple of people online who are watching us live. If you're on the live, go and give me a team live in the comments below. If you're on the rerun, give me a hashtag rerun in the comments below. And if you have any questions for any one of these incredible people, then I want you to ask that question as well. For those of you who are on Zoom with us, go ahead and put it in the chat, and then I'll make sure to ask on your behalf, maybe even have you unmute yourself. And then for those of you who are watching on the live stream, go ahead and let us know by using hashtag question right below, and we will make sure to get your question answered. We have a couple of questions already prepared because these people are just incredibly amazing. But before I even ask these questions, I want to do the introduction of every single one of these people. I'm just going to base it off of who's like right next to me. I got Erin right next to me who coaches teen and tween girls, and she is just a powerhouse of like encouragement. She is such a powerful coach, and you have seen her throughout this entire week. I mean, you see how much action she takes, and it's pretty incredible. And Erin, I think we've known each other. You've actually watched from the very first investment I made like 5-6 years ago to now, and you've seen the growth, and you're still around, which is pretty awesome. So it's been pretty cool to watch you do that. We got Jay here. Jay and his business partner Becky landed a $61,000 client using what we teach in Clients with Purpose, as well as what you learned in the challenges. So it's pretty incredible to watch them take action, do the work. And now, just before we even went live, he was talking about how, okay, now we're thinking about how to scale and like how to like make even more money, which is pretty incredible. Then we got Nashira, and Nashira is our financial therapist. She is like a genius when it comes to understanding your relationship to money and how you can overcome the toxicity you experience when it comes to money and really feel empowered, positive, and confident with money. Then we got Leslie with her daughter, and it is so awesome. Leslie's a dietitian, and Leslie's experienced some incredible results. Very first month that we worked together, $0. Like that first month that she started, $0. This month she's like, I think it's like 13, somewhere between $13,000 and $20,000 that she's making just this month, which is incredible. Projected for that to continue scaling throughout this next year. And then we got Stephanie. What up, Stephanie? Now, Stephanie is a successful bookkeeper. She joined the program as a bookkeeper. And then what's pretty incredible, because we work with you for such a long time, she's like, my bookkeeping business is pretty solid. I'm going to start transitioning out of that and transition to be a coach. And I can't tell you, the first time I saw Stephanie, I heard Stephanie, because I think it was on Clubhouse, actually coach someone, I got goosebumps because of how, like, I was like, oh my gosh, Stephanie, you're like, like coach is such a small word compared to what you do. Like, it was just so incredible. And then we got Tracy in the house, and Tracy is a relationship coach for single Black women. And every single time I have a conversation with Tracy, her eyes light up. She's just so excited about the work she's doing. And literally, I see like the next Oprah when I'm talking to Tracy, and it's just pretty incredible. The next Beyonce. And so I am so honored to have these people on live. I see Paige is with us, who is live. Awesome. So I'm actually going to start first with Leslie. Leslie, you've kind of seen some incredible some incredible results over the last couple of like weeks and months. I'm curious because when you first started, I've seen the struggle, the mindset struggles, the skill set struggles, and I've seen you not just struggle and accept the struggle, but you've like overcome every single thing that has come against you. Can you kind of walk us through that journey a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. I would probably say, when I started with you, I was definitely in a, like last May, right? I started last May. Yeah. There was definitely a little bit of a struggle with, mindset, like definitely lack mindset. There's not enough people out there, or not enough people want to get help from me, or all that good stuff, but also lack of mindset. Like, lack of wanting to invest with you, right? Like, I don't know about this guy kind of thing. So I had to even move past that to get to here. But then the biggest struggles that I think I've had across the, 6 to 8 months that we've really been doing this is, one, always constantly having to change my mindset. Even yesterday, like, I started to get down on myself. Like, I've had the best month ever, but in my mind I was like, is it over? Like, I actually just had another sale just a minute ago too. I
What,
know, right?
Leslie?
I know. And I have one that I'm closing at 1:30 too. So hopefully I'll have another.
Yeah.
So it was awesome, right? It really feels really good. But yesterday with my mindset as it fell, and I started to think, okay, I'm gonna, this isn't gonna work out for me kind of thing. I did a lot of the things that I've learned across the past, 6 months to get myself out of that, and fast. Like, before it would be like a whole day I would be that way. And now it's, 5 minutes and I'm back to where I, was before. So that's a big part. And I'd say the really other big part that's really helped is being confident in sales. So before, I didn't know what to do on a sales call, I had no idea, what to say, how to say it. And now I'm confident and I can do it without like a script in front of me. And I feel good about the way I'm selling, and not that I'm, being salesy, but that I'm really there to help the person on the other end.
That is amazing. And you said something interesting. You said, first of all, congratulations on that sale. And the other one, I love the language you're using. I'm gonna close the sale at 1:30. It's so like the transition from where you were to where you are now, and the language you're using and the body language you're bringing to the conversation, like all of it has shifted. But you said something, you said, like, I even got down on myself still. And what's so incredible is so many people think like, okay, once I'm making all the money, my mindset's done. But the reality is, like, we're all human. We all, like, I get down on myself. I'm like, man, that coaching call sucked. What was I doing there? And it's so fundamental to have the tools to be able to pull yourself out of that. What would you say, Leslie, are like the top 3 skills you acquired in the last couple of months while we've worked together?
I would probably say my top one, which I hope you don't mind if this embarrasses you in any way, but you said that when you do your affirmations, you look in the mirror and you kind of like get into the character. And
Yeah.
that's something that I do. I don't look in the mirror because I typically do them while I'm working out, but I put in the endorphin while I'm doing it. And a lot of times my daughter will be with me at that point and we actually like say them out loud, and I have her saying ones. And I think that's number one, is that, actually getting into the emotion of those affirmations. Two, I've done a lot of mindset work on my own, reading books through suggestions from everybody in Slack and from you as well. And then the last thing being a lot of like meditation work, really getting into that abundance mindset instead of a lack mindset. I'd
Yeah.
probably say those would be, the top 3 things, and definitely encouraged by you and all the other guys through the Slack channel to help me get to this area. So.
Yeah, before I move on to Nashira, real quick, I'd love to know, because you mentioned, you had a little bit of hesitancy with like actually joining the program. What was that hesitancy, and what led you to actually making like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go all in on my business.
Yeah. So the hesitancy was from having a previous coach, and that coach that I previously worked with actually told me during COVID that I'd never make money and that he couldn't see my business going anywhere, so that I would be better off figuring out something else to do. So that really put me in a downfall of me thinking like, okay, maybe I'm never going to make any money. I think he's crazy and I really will. But that, put me on guard towards you when I started the challenge. I know that he's just trying, like, I'm going to do this challenge, get the best out of it, but he just wants my money in the end kind of thing. But the truth is that I never felt that way. And the big kicker that made me decide to do it was, as I was debating it, and I was sold on Friday. I was sold, but I knew I really needed to talk to my husband. And when I reached out and I told you that, you actually responded back with, I would want your husband to be fully on board. I would not want you to do this against what your husband said. And when my husband heard that through the voice messages we were sending back and forth, he was then sold, because it was that you hadn't just cared about me, that you had cared enough about him and our relationship to know that while this is the best for my business, it needs to be a team effort on our end. And I would probably say that was the kicker when I did it. So
Yeah, I love it. And so really quick, what kind of access have you gotten, like to me, to everybody else who's on this as an expert? What kind of access has that looked like for you?
I really like the calls. Like I thought we weren't going to do any one-on-one calls, but you do a plethora of them throughout. You know, you do like the beginning call, and there's a call in the middle, and there's a couple of other ones, and you're always willing to like do a loop video or Loom video, and those I think are helpful because I feel like you're actually coaching me in the Loom video. And you'll respond through that with the Slack channel. But I would say if I have a question, someone in Slack has typically answered it within the next couple of hours, even on a weekend. So whether it's you or somebody else, pretty fast action if you really have a question.
Yeah.
We kind of all help each other. And there's so many other, diverse coaches and things like that. I think Nashira has answered a couple of my questions too. So
Yeah.
helpful in that aspect to always have somebody that's there.
Yeah,
So.
I love it. So talking about Nashira, you're a financial therapist. What does that even mean? Because before meeting you, I never heard that term before.
Yeah, so financial therapy is still something that's really new, still in its infancy, but it really looks at the emotional side of money, right? The cognitive behaviors that we have behind our spending. So rather than just focusing on numbers, you're actually focusing on, the behaviors behind the numbers and how you feel, right? The thoughts and beliefs of how you feel. So a lot of money mindsets, conversations and talks come from your money beliefs.
And
So that's financial therapy.
Yeah, you and Leslie are acceleration coaches in Clients with Purpose who are supporting our people and our members. What is some of the work that you would recommend people listening to right now who are like, I know I have money mindset issues. Like I just know that I'm not fully where I need to be in order to not just attract that money, but also accept it well. How would you encourage them to start doing maybe the groundwork of what you do within the program?
Yeah, I would say they should start to really assess how they feel about their money. So, maybe they jump on a call and they're ready when they're about to get to the sales conversation or talk about money, they start to feel some way. Like I know, Leslie, we've had this conversation before, like how you feel right when you're about to ask money for the money. I would say really start to write that down, start to really understand the feeling that's going on behind it. Or if you're nervous about a call and it's about, oh, I'm going to ask for this big amount, start to really write that down. Like, what am I feeling? And then go a little deeper. Like, why am I feeling that way? Because that helps you start to think about the thoughts that you're having when it comes to talking about money.
That's amazing. And what's really incredible is you are a client in Clients with Purpose, right? You're a member, but you're also kind of transitioning into this acceleration coaching role. Why have you made the decision to say like, okay, I want to be on Sean's team now? Like what kind of support have you received? What kind of results have you experienced in Clients with Purpose that led you to that decision?
Yeah. So first off, I want to say, Erin, move over because I'm here to stay. I'm not going there. One of the things that I love about being in Clients with Purpose is that you set the tone for everyone in there. So everyone's a leader, but you set the tone in terms you show up and you serve. Like you do it in the 5-day challenge, but you do it like when you come and the Loom videos, the text, everything. And I think that that's one of the things that I love about watching you and your team is that serving. And so that's what I want to do. So I think I've had a call with almost everyone in Clients with Purpose at this point, but it's amazing that I get to serve them, but they also show up for me as well, whether it be my accountability calls or just supporting me on social or whatever that is.
Yeah, and I think that's why we call it like a mastermind, because it's not so much about like I have all the answers. Sometimes I don't know, and I'm like, man, you know who knows the answer? Nashira or Erin or Tracy. Like, let's connect them together. And it's such a powerhouse of leaders that come together to serve. I think I heard a little bit, but what kind of results have you seen being a member of Clients with Purpose?
Yeah, so as a member, I've been able to really take the ideas that I had sitting in my head for years and actually execute them. So one, Sean is like, well, he's really nice. He's also like, okay, no, set a date right now. Like, and he'll stop the whole call. He'll be like, no, put it in your calendar right now, set the date. And so that holds me accountable to like setting a date, getting something out there, but also strategy. Right. So while I do feel like I have a comfortable level of sales, I do feel that when it comes to like having a strategy on how to launch something, how to onboard, how to do, gather data, things like that, I feel like the program has really helped me where I could be spending years looking for how am I going to get this done, but using your program, I've been able to say, oh, it's all there, and then I could just reach out to someone if I need tweaks or need help, and someone just show up and help. So that's
I love it. And you know what I'm reminded of is you were like, okay, Sean, I'm ready to launch tomorrow. And then I was like, okay, let's figure out, are you ready to launch tomorrow? And we figured out, okay, there are a couple of missing pieces that you wouldn't have known if we never had that conversation, which is pretty incredible. So I love it. Well, thank you so much, Nashira. Whooshes for Leslie and Nashira. Let's go with Stephanie. So you joined Clients with Purpose as a bookkeeper. What was your experience like as a bookkeeper? And then what was the experience like as you're transitioning now as a coach?
Yeah, so I think that what I would say that's like really different about like this process, because I had started up, it took me a long time before I started making money at all. And then I was like dabbling in a lot of other coaching stuff. You know what I mean? You just like pick up all the free stuff. When you're first starting, you learn all the things. And most of the things are about attraction marketing. And it sounds really like it's like a, what do you call it? Like a very shiny object, because you're like, oh, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to actually sell, and people are just going to come. And your program taught me that like, that the connections that you make at like how to start, right? Like when you're first starting, all those things that those other coaches are saying are not your first step. And so I think for this program, what it taught me was like the next step for me right now. And so that's how I started getting like more clients for bookkeeping. I did raise my prices. I got way more confident saying my prices, and then it got easier to even sell like lower ticket because I started with higher ticket. So that's kind of like the process. And I have not been like kind of like the ideal picture of like perfection as far as your your clients go, because I don't have like that much time to do it, like I'm juggling between kids and stuff. But the great thing is that it doesn't matter because it's perfect for me, right? Like I have the next step every time I have time to take a step. I have the next step.
Let me ask you that, because that's so important. And we've actually got that question a lot is, I have kids, I'm married, or maybe like I have like a job. I have all these things I'm juggling. Can I actually succeed? Is it possible for me to do that with all these other things that I deeply care about, or that's just like sucking up my time right now?
Yeah. And so to that question, I would say obviously a resounding yes, but also the reason why it's why the perfect next step for you is to take Sean's course is because it is 12 months long. So you have that support as you go, and you don't have to feel like you're missing out if you get bogged down for a couple months focusing on something else, or there's a family thing. And I will say that like, if you ever want to get out of where you're at, like even if you're in a spot right now where, your main focus is kids, or, Zoom schooling, which is a thing apparently, you know what I mean? Like if those are the things that you're focusing on right now, the only way, like you aren't going to have the energy to figure out what to do next without help.
So good. So good. And you mentioned something that I'm like looking literally at Leslie, who's an example of this. She has 2 kids on this panel, which is awesome. And what's incredible is I gave Leslie permission, like if you got to have your kids in your lap while you're doing this, okay, 100%. But even beyond that, like if you only have 30 minutes a week, you want to make sure you're spending that time on the right things and not like everything. And if you're doing the right thing, no matter how long it takes you, some people, they get it in a day. Like Penny, who's not on this call, but like the day she joined Clients with Purpose, she landed like that $30,000 client. But for some people, it takes them 2 months, 6 months, and we're there to really support you because it really depends on how much time you're giving and you have access to it. But then there's that time where you're like, all right, I'm done. where you're at with your bookkeeping and your coaching business, like you're transitioning out of that now and you're going into this new phase, which is coaching. How has that, for people who are in transition right now, how would you encourage them to like go through that transition and give themselves grace through that transition? Because that transition can be really difficult.
I think that the really positive fun part about the transition is that because of this program, I look at the coaching and I go, I know how to do it. I know how to get there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's really fun. The hard thing, of course, is figuring out what to spend my time on right now, because I have my bookkeeping clients. It's January, so now is when everybody is like, oh, I need to find a bookkeeper, but for the, you know, because all my stuff is due in 2 months or whatever. And so now is like, so there's definitely a lot of questions. It's not a smooth process at all. It's super messy. Just kind of this messy question of like, you know, who do I focus on? How do I prioritize my time? But one of the things you told me that was really encouraging is just like, you don't have to be like in a hurry to transition. And it was helpful to just kind of like, okay, you can relax and be here in the moment in between the two things, and you're fine. Like, you're fine here was really helpful.
And I think I heard you say in a coaching call, actually, that there's magic in the mess. The magic
somebody quoted Brene Brown,
Brene Brown, who said that, yeah, which is amazing. And so it's really cool to see you like enjoying that process, because so many times people would be like so crazy, hectic, and stressed, and like, I gotta be here, and put pressure on themselves. And you're like, hey, I'm okay. I'm moving forward at my pace, but I know I'm doing the right things, which is awesome.
And that, honestly, that's in large part due to my ability to self-coach, because it's really hard.
Yeah, for sure.
But and I landed, I don't know if I told you this, I landed my first coaching client recently.
Whoosh! I love it.
And I wasn't, you know, I wasn't like in this, like, I'm gonna get my client now. It was part of the process. And as I was transitioning, and I landed that client, and yeah, so that was really exciting. And it just really shows me like, yep, you're doing it.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so go into Tracy. Whoosh is for Stephanie. And like, you guys are awesome. So Tracy, you are a coach for single Black women, and it's been pretty incredible for you to really get so much clarity on your who, because so many people struggle with that. It's like, who do I work with? And I think it was like in our offer intensive, you're actually somebody who actually does work. Like you show up, you do the work. You're like, I'm gonna ask all the difficult questions because I need to know what I'm doing. How would you encourage people who are stuck with that who question of like, who am I supposed to work with? And then I have like maybe 1 or 2 questions after that. But how would you encourage people who are stuck into who?
Join clients with purpose, because Sean has really done an amazing job at giving you a structure that you can kind of bring all your wild and crazy thoughts to, and like streamline it and get it all situated so that you're not trying to serve everything and everybody, and you really can hone in on who it is that you want to serve, how you want to serve them. Some of the exercises we've done, I've been doing some form of entrepreneurship really since I was a kid, but in this realm, in this space of working as a coach or a therapist and everything, since like 2013. And so I've got more clarity, more concise understanding of who it is that I am trying to reach through this program than I have in all these years. And it's simply because it's like Sean knows. He kind of seems like he knows what you're struggling with and knows the right questions to ask, even on the videos, on the things that are just line by line, precept by precept, and it makes you be able to just wipe away the extra stuff, because I have so many files on my computer and old websites, just trying to figure out who really am I trying to serve and how. But if you get into this structure, it will let you kind of get all that sorted out.
You know what's really cool about you too is most of the time people know who they're working with. They just need help crafting the language around it. And that's what's been really helpful for you, because I've seen you, like I'll be like, okay, who is your audience? You'll be like, well, they're not this. And you're very clear about who they're not, but it's really crafted in the language around who they are.
Who they are.
That's
Yes.
the work that we've really done.
Yes. That truly is it. Yes.
I'm curious, what would you say in regards to, you know, the things that make this program and the work we do completely different than anything else you've invested in the past? What can people expect?
They can expect a lot of things. I had somebody else mention, I can't remember who, because I was moving around trying to get situated. But somebody else mentioned having invested in a coach before, and I did too. And at that time, that was the most I had ever invested in it, and I was lost, and she was nowhere to be found. She was nowhere to be found. Everything was kind of this one to many approach, which we have that too in this group. But the sense of community and expertise that comes along with this is what's really been a benefit of this program versus other ones. Also, I told Sean, I think I remember telling him on our first one-on-one call, like, I don't want to be in a program where you ain't gonna be showing up. I need to see you. Like, I want to see you. I want you a part of it, and I appreciate everybody else being there. They've been very helpful. Like someone else said, you have experts on every level. So you post a question, somebody's going to answer it or give their input or insight. Is going to be really helpful. But I'm like, I ain't paying them. I'm paying Sean. And so I want to see Sean, and we see Sean. He's very visible. He's very hands-on. And like I think that was Leslie maybe that said he will jump on a Loom and give you your own personal video crafted just for you and your needs and what you're saying you're going through. And I just think that little personal touch sets you apart and sets this program apart from other ones that I've been a part of.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's, I want to make sure we have enough time for questions. So we have two more experts that I want to hear from. Let's go with Jay. Jay is, you're the only gentleman on the expert panel. I just realized. So it's you and me, man. But you and your business partner, Becky, invested and have recently landed the $61,000 client. You're now looking at scaling. I'm curious to hear from you, and I'm sure everybody else is, how did you do it? How can they do it? And, you know, just give us a little bit of that how.
Sure. I mean, Sean teaches you how to be lucky. No, I'm just joking. You know, it is a culmination of everything. There is not one particular part of the program that I was in that said, well, this is what helped me land that 61,000. It's every part of the program. It's little things. I've been doing sales for years, so I'm very familiar with sales, but I just learned little things from Sean during that process. But probably the single biggest thing that I learned was how to package a $61,000 offer. I mean, up until that moment, my biggest client was ever $2,000. $2,000 is my biggest client, right? Up until that moment. And the courses that I went through, I mean, he takes you through how to put your offer together, how to do marketing, how to do sales, how to do all of that. And you take all these little things that you get from him. You don't even realize it sometimes until, you know, I got done with that client and I realized, oh my God, yeah, I said this during that meeting. And that's exactly what Sean had said in the one meeting. And this is what he had wrote about in this one video or talked about in this one video. And there's just little things. There was no big, huge rock that fell on my head that said, oh my God, this is exactly what it was that did it. It was literally all of it summed into one big rock. But they were little pebbles, but all of them put together made one huge boulder. And yeah, I mean, so now we're taking it and we're going a step further. So I'm actually going back through the training again because we're repackaging a new offer and I don't want to miss anything. Yeah. And he's mine for a year. So I'm going back through that and I'm literally on all the areas that we need to, that's very product specific. We're going back through the training again and we're going right through it step by step.
Yeah.
And it's going to help us package the next item that we're getting ready to launch. So yeah.
I love it. You have me for a year. You're gonna soak it all up.
Oh,
Because
I'm milking that for everything. Telling you.
and that what gets me excited, because you're showing up, and when you and Stephanie and Leslie and Ashira and Tracy and Aaron, you show up, I show up, there's like magic that happens. And so tell me, because you actually work with a business partner. It's not just you, but you have Becky, who's a business partner. I'm curious, for those people who are working, maybe it's a spouse, maybe it's a business partner, maybe it's, they have that team. How have you both experienced clients with purpose, and how has it allowed you to work better together?
Well, first of all, we both went through the program together. So it's really easy in our business meetings, oh, do you remember when Sean said this? Or do you remember this and that trend? Oh, yeah. So it just puts us on it automatically put us on the same page, because it wasn't. So with my business partner, and I would absolutely encourage this for any business owner, you want your partner going through this with you, so you're always on the same page, because there's certain things that can seem initially, until Sean explains it, a bit counterintuitive. So if you're not going through it and you don't hear that explanation, and you're trying to tell that to your business partner will be like, huh, what? No, that doesn't make any sense. And then you got to explain to them why. So definitely go through it with your business partner, because you'll be on the same page. It doesn't mean that all your ideas are exactly the same, but you're looking at it with the same set of glasses on, maybe just from a different direction. And I think that was huge. It helped us be on the same page.
So good. And what's good news for anybody who has like a partner, whether it's a business partner, or you have a spouse who's also an entrepreneur, or you have a spouse who you want to bring them into your world. We have a 2-for-1 option. So hey, you will create an account for your spouse on us, because as you saw in, I think it was Thursday evening, me and my wife, we believe in marriage. We believe in partnership. We believe in having the strong relationships that really set the tone for everything you're doing in your business. So if you're signing up and you're like, Sean, can I have my husband sign up too? Bring them along. Absolutely, on us, because we want to support that. And it's been really incredible to see Jay and Becky just get so much stronger as business partners, and really build your business. Okay, last person but not least, then we'll get to Rochelle, Makita, Lance. So good to see you, and Ola, and anybody who's watching live. If you have any questions about your business or about the program or anything for any one of our panelists, go ahead and ask it. Use #question in the comments below. Aaron, I would love to hear from you about the community aspect, because everybody's talking about their results. It's awesome. Everyone's talking about, the training, awesome, access to me. What about the community? Because we do something really fun. We always do some breakout rooms where you're connecting with new people. What is that experience like?
Having people that are on the same page, it's very much what Jay was talking about with having your business partner. But so I have felt so often, and I know you guys have felt it too, like you're on an entrepreneurial island. Like your venture is totally different than the brick and mortar down the street, or, you just feel like nobody understands where I'm at. Everyone in Clients with Purpose understands where you're at, where you've been, and where you're going. And so you get to collaborate with them. You get to talk with them. You share the pain points. And having known Sean forever, I know that he gets all of that too. People talk about, it's almost like he can read your mind sometimes. And we're all on that. We're on that same journey. We have that same step. We have that same strategy. And we can remind each other, because the community is amazing. The training is amazing. I would just echo everything that everyone else already said. And it's so much, and it's so good. So you open a Google Doc and it has all the questions you need to ask. And like Jay said, you go back through because you're crafting a new offer, or you're putting together a new proposal, or so you go back and you go through, but it's not overwhelming, because you have all of these people that are going through it with you, that are saying oh yes, this is the step that I'm on, and that's the step you're on. And here's where I circled back to figure this part out. And we're doing it together. And it's this energy and it's this excitement and it's this support.
Yeah.
You know, when I know anytime I hop on Slack and I say something, Nashira's going to be like, way to go, Erin, you're awesome. Thanks for, you know, thanks for sharing it. I don't just get Sean as my cheerleader. You know, I get Nashira, I get Leslie, I get Tracy, I get Stephanie, I get everybody. We're all going to win.
Yeah.
And we're all in that, you know, we're in it together in a way that I just haven't, you don't experience in a course. You don't experience with a one-on-one situation only, you know, like, you know, I love getting one-on-one attention, don't get me wrong, but it's almost like you feel like you're getting one-on-one attention from every single person in the mastermind. So
yeah. And what's really cool is did you go to both of our retreats? We've done, okay.
Yep.
So you've actually done in-person work with us as well. We haven't, I think you're the only one who's gone to a retreat so far because of COVID. It's been like a little bit, almost a year now of COVID. So we haven't been able to do a retreat. We actually canceled one. And so, but you've been to those like in-person retreats. What would you say like are the training elements of it, but also like the fun elements?
So fun. Oh my gosh. We laugh and we connect and we support no one on this panel has been to the retreats with us, but the relationships that I have from those two retreats, it's hard to describe, right? So it takes, you know, probably 9 months to a year over Zoom to really get to that place that you get to in one day with people that you've attended a live event with. You know each other, you know your spouses, you know your, you know, motivations, you know your Enneagram numbers, you know, like all of the things. You share food together, and it's such a great experience of support that, again, just, you know, Sean crafts it in such a way that just makes it just icing on the cake, right? You know, like, yes, I'm building my business, but I'm also building friendships and connections and clientele. Like, that's something that we haven't really hit on, but we are each other's clients a lot of times because we need what one another has to offer.
And that is actually one of my favorite things to see is people in Clients with a Purpose hiring people in Clients with Purpose. Like I've hired from within Clients with Purpose, and other people have as well, because you build those relationships and it's like just so fun. And I think, Erin, you were the only person, if you were there at this time of the party, you were the only person to see my version of Bohemian Rhapsody on karaoke.
We have that on video, so others can see it. I'm pretty sure I can find it somewhere. Let me know.
It was awesome. So hopefully, we're hoping by the end of this year, we're able to do like a retreat and it be safe, and things are like kind of easing a little bit. So we'll see. We still haven't made that full decision yet, but the next time we do it, it's going to be super awesome. I mean, just imagine going to this beautiful mansion we rent out. We bring in beautiful decorations. You stay in the mansion. We feed you. We do work in like together, and then we have like all these parties. We do this like fancy pantsy party where we do like photos, and it's just like super awesome. And then we do this karaoke night. It's just really, really fun. So, okay. Those are all the questions I had for the panelists, but I would love to hear from those who are in the inner circle. And I see a lot of people who are commenting on the live stream. If you have any comments or if you have any questions, go ahead and put it in the chat below and I'll ask the panel. Let me go ahead and check in with Rochelle though. And I'm curious, what was your biggest takeaway so far? And do you have any questions for anyone specific in the panel, or just for everyone maybe?
I would say that this has been very eye-opening for me. Like many have mentioned, that they do a lot of different trainings, and you give the goods right up front. You provide everything we need. There's no hesitation. I would say that I have gained so much information that I feel confident to take massive action.
Yeah.
That I feel confident that I can move forward with everything that I have envisioned and not feel stuck, because I can go back and rewatch, check my notes and do it again.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I don't have any specific questions. I have just been writing feverishly and typing. Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Rochelle. So good. Let's go ahead and check in with Makita. Biggest takeaway from today's panel, and then any questions you have for anyone specific on the panel.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for sharing today. So I think my biggest takeaway was just, I've been in a program before with you, Sean, and it's just that you've just like 10x'd what you did before, I think is the way that I hear it, which is exciting. And I love that you guys have a mastermind and that everybody is, working together to grow your business. And I think that is excellent. It's wonderful because nobody wants to be in business alone. So that's what I hear is that you guys aren't doing business alone and everybody's at a different point and just growing together. So that's exciting. I don't have any particular questions. I was just here experiencing, this portion of the inner circle. So thank you.
Oh, good. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thanks, Makita. Let's go ahead and check in with Lance. That's a great question, Jennifer. I'll ask that in just a second. So Lance, biggest takeaway from today and any questions for the panel? Oh, I can't hear you. Can you guys hear him? No. All right, so while he's figuring out his audio, let's see if he can figure that out. Jennifer has a question, and I'd love anybody who has an answer to this, is how do you keep track of everything you have to do with your business and still have downtime or family time? So anybody who wants to answer that, just go ahead and chime in.
Oh, I'll chime in. Although Leslie, I think, is probably pretty good at this too. She's juggling 2 babies and running a business and a household. So she's probably better at it than me. But we use a project management tool, and it's very simple. A project management tool it's a very simplistic tool. It's literally the task, the date that it's due, and the name of the person it's assigned to. And you can put subtasks inside the task. Other than that, literally, we didn't make this big, huge project deal out of it. It's not project management, but it gives us the focus that we need. And we know at the end of the day, we can look at it and say, yes, I got everything done I was supposed to get done today. You can knock off and you can feel good about the way the day went. So that's kind of what we do. We use a project management, task management tool like that.
I love it. I love it. Leslie, I'd love to hear from you because he mentioned you juggling the babies.
Yeah. So I would say 2 things. One, I do a lot of like, okay, these are the things I'm going to get accomplished this week. And I carve out time for each one. But at the same time, I schedule time with my family. And while that to some people's like, you schedule time, yes, I do. I make sure that every day that there's a 2-hour period, whether it's back to back or split apart, where like phones, computers, all that's put away and it's just time with each other. And that's just as important to me. So I think it's prioritizing and then, following through with what you have written down. You can't just like fall off. So that's really how I stay up on top of everything. Like each week I look at it, I view my month. And when I set up my month, I write all the things I want to get accomplished. I break it down to each week and then I allot each time for those things. And then each day there's the time with the family. There's the time to do things for myself. I work out every morning by myself when they're not awake. Sometimes they join me now, but so I make sure that I make it a point to stay on that schedule. If it's important to me, I'll find the time for it. If it's not, and I continue to push it off, I realize that it's probably not something that's aligned with what I'm supposed to do anyways, and it's okay that it falls off. So
good. So good. And you said something about like Mondays. Every single Monday we do something called the like Monday morning video where you set your intention for the week. What do you want to get done this week? How can we celebrate? How can we support you? And I know that's been super helpful as well. Okay, let's go ahead and check in with Nashira because I know you also have kids.
Yeah.
And they're a little older. So teenagers versus toddlers, they're both, have their ups and their awesome moments.
They're still really needy, so it doesn't matter. But one of the things I want to say, I especially before COVID, I did time blocking. So I had a schedule where what type of work I'm going to get done on what day and what time. But now, both my kids are remote learning. And so I know during the times that they're doing remote, not to schedule work that requires me to be like in deep thinking or certain conversations because it's just so hard. And so I give myself grace. So, make sure you add grace into your calendar. If you need to stop, if you only can do 20 minutes on something, stop, do 20 minutes, get up, go do what you got to do, and then come back. But maybe you plan what type of work is good for you to do in small chunks instead of maybe something that you know you need to sit down for an hour for. So that's one of the things that I've learned throughout COVID, especially when it comes to, you know, booking my calendar and what that looks like. So don't forget grace, okay? Give
So
yourself
good.
some grace.
I love it. Anybody else want to share? Tracy.
Yeah, I have recently added this list to my day. I made my screensaver on my phone. So I read a book called The 5 Second Rule by Mel Robbins, and she said that one of the things she did to kind of get a hold of her day is to make the first parts of the day about investing in herself first so that she can, do that. And so by what she did was create a morning routine. And so I sat there and I wrote out and made it my screensaver. Here's the stuff that I'm going to do first, second, and third. And before I even get out of bed in the morning, I do my devotional, I pray. And then after that, I look at what I call my next 12-hour list. What's the next the things that have to get done before I go back to bed tonight, and that has been so helpful. I created a checklist on the app on my phone called Color Notes, and I'm able to just get this done, whether it's something personal or something business wise, and that way it doesn't feel like you're getting out of sync with your personal life and you haven't scheduled that doctor's appointment or you haven't ran that errand, but also you're not getting off on your business where, you need to make this call or, you need to do this next thing in the course even. So yeah, that's how I'm managing it. And I'm someone, I don't have kids. I do have a husband, but so I have a little more flexibility. But I think sometimes when you have that flexibility, it's easier for you to get off course because nobody's waiting on you to take them to school or pick them up. So you like, I have all day. And then the next thing you know, it's time to go to bed. So I'm just saying that for people who may be in my position where you don't have the kids, you don't have all these extra, you don't have the job to go to and clock in, you can still lose track of your time and not have a productive day. So that's how I do it. Have a morning routine.
So good. So good. And I see Cassie just joined us as well. I love it. And I'll say as a husband, I am pretty needy sometimes. So I totally get it. You said you just have a husband. I'm sure he could be needy too. Okay.
I was going to pop in and just mention that part of what you do in the very first part of Clients with Purpose is all about figuring yourself out, which is a very important part, because how this looks for me versus how this looks for Leslie versus Tracy and what works for us and works for our life is different. That's where we talk about this is not cookie cutter, because you're figuring out what are your personal motivations, what are your the ways that you work best and what that personality looks like, and understanding like that's part of the reason why some coaches really don't resonate with you is because they have their one way. Sean does not have this one way. He says, this is kind of what works for me, but like, look at your personality profiles, look at how your motivations work, look at what your time looks like. And when you start to understand that and then have people that understand that in your community that are like, oh yeah, that works for me, but this is what will probably work for you based on your personality, that is so key. So
I love it.
Enneagram has changed my life. It has changed my life. Thank you for the leadership portion of the course, of the program. It's amazing.
I love it. I love it. Okay, let's see if we can hear from Lance. We got about 10 more minutes. Lance, let's see if you can mute yourself. No, we can't hear you. Oh, bummer. Okay, just let us know in the chat. But it's good to see you. Let's go with Ola. If you can unmute yourself.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Ola. So biggest takeaway today and any questions you have for the panel?
I was just listening to everybody. First, I will say thanks for everybody for sharing. I really see there's like a strong synergy in the Client with Purpose, and I'm excited, looking forward to, yeah. So, yeah, I don't really have any questions. I'm just listening, I'm soaking in all what everybody's saying. I just like the synergy, like, everybody working together in different businesses, helping each other. So that is what it's supposed to be. So, yeah.
I love it. Well, thanks so much, Ola. Let's go with Cassie. Cassie, are you there?
I am here, but I do have children in the background.
I love it. So do many of us. So any biggest takeaway from what you've heard so far, and then any questions for any of the panelists?
Yeah, so biggest takeaway is just that I love that it is not cookie cutter, because there are so many ways to still build a business that gives you that freedom and just that, you know, the joy to serve. My biggest question is, while you're moving through it and you're staying paced, what is your best advice for not having that urge to like jump ahead? Like, I love the, like, when you get excited, you're always like, oh, I want that next thing, right? Like, how do you have the discipline to actually implement where you're at? And I'm sure the program structure is such that it helps, but just any feedback that you all have from going through that.
Yeah, anybody want to answer that?
There will not be a problem because the way that it is set up, I know one of the things we do early in the program is Sean gets in on a one-on-one call with you and does this like 100-point inspection. And I was like, Sean, how are you gonna do 100 points in 30 or 60 minutes, however long it lasted? And he was like, oh, I got it. And he had it, and it was able to say, okay, we got to the end. He said, okay, you need to go to this part of the program. And when you get in there, it's so juicy and so much stuff. And it really, like they were saying, it's not cookie cutter. It really fits you like, this is really where I need to spend my time. Like, this is the piece that's been missing. So when you get in it's set up in a way that distraction is not a problem because you're so into fixing this portion, this missing piece. So for me, it's just being able to go to the place where you need to, wherever it is in the program. He could have you jump in at somewhere towards the beginning, middle, or end, but having that part of the program that speaks really to where you truly are, and you're not on that entrepreneurial island, is really huge in keeping you focused and on task. And you don't even feel the need to skip ahead. You're like, no, I want to master this before I do the next thing. For me, anyway, that's been my experience.
I love it. And Nashira, I know you wanted to mention something real quick. And Stephanie, I think you wanted to mention something real quick too. Just to clarify what Tracy said is we do a one-on-one orientation call where we do something called the millionaire mapping exercise. And we also go through a 100-point checklist to see where your business is at. So we can pinpoint, okay, this is where you should be focusing on. But what's really incredible is you do get access to everything. So let's say you're like on step 4, but you need information from step 7 because you're getting on a call. You easily have access to that. So that's what Tracy was referencing. Let's go with Nashira, then we'll go with Stephanie. Love your kid.
We can go with Stephanie. I was going to say the same thing. I think the onboarding part was what really worked for me. And honestly, when we did the onboarding call and you were like, go have more conversations, I was like, man, I've been doing research for years. Like, how can I be doing more market research? But I think Stephanie also mentioned this before. On the other side of those conversations, I really started to get to see what the need of my client was and the words that they were using. So, Sean does a great job at knowing where to send you within the program and what to do, that it's so valuable. It's like, I would recommend anyone trust him. If he says, go to 3, go to 3, but you do have people in the program who are like zooming through everything, zooming through videos, taking what they can, but then they go back and then they rewatch things. And so again, it's really up to the individual.
One of the first messages you're going to hear from me is, hey, good luck trying to watch everything, because I know that's exactly what you want to do right now. What you're going to do is you're going to try to go through some of it. Then you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I just need to start from the scratch, I just need to wait. So yeah, I mean, if you want to zoom through it all, go at it. Stephanie,
my kids already know the theme song. So it's a purpose.
I love it.
I was just going to tell the story about how I got stuck on the offer portion, remember? And so I got stuck for a while, and it kind of decreased my motivation because I just got stuck on some stuff. And then it just took one conversation with you to figure out what I needed to do, next. And I think it wasn't even a one-on-one. It was just right. It was just in the Monday coaching, group stuff. And knowing what the next step is, and just working through where you get stuck. And I think that is a really big deal, because I think in any program, it'd be really easy to get stuck on things. And then if you don't have someone to hold your hand, as you walk over that, that balance beam to get to the next side, and then you're up and running again. I feel that portion, that element is really, really important too.
Yeah.
Just to keep you moving forward. And that's something that is really unique, I think, to the just the whole spirit of this program.
So good. Cassie, does that answer your question?
It does, absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions for the panel?
I think that's pretty much it. I think y'all have done a good job covering everything.
Awesome. Okay, well, we have 2 minutes left. I would love to hear just real quick, one sentence, best piece of advice you have for everybody who's listening, who everyone took the challenge. Best piece of advice, we'll start with Erin.
If I wasn't already in the program, listening to all these people that are in the program again would make me want to enroll again.
I love it. Jay.
Patience.
Hmm.
Stay patient. Go through it all. I'm the most impatient man in the world. So stay patient and just go through it, eat it up, soak it up, and then do like me. Go through it again.
I love it. Nashira.
Don't be afraid to take a risk.
So good. So good. Let's go with Leslie.
My biggest thing I always tell myself is if I'm unwilling to invest in myself, how do I think clients are going to be willing to invest in me? So that's what I said to my husband before I decided to invest in myself in this program. So that's my tip.
I love it. All right, Tracy.
Take the leap. I was full of doubt, not about Sean, but about, okay, is it really worth spending this money and investing this time? Am I going to do the work? Take the leap and you will see that you will. And you got a whole team of us behind you supporting you as you do.
I love it. Okay, last but not least, Stephanie.
I'm going to say that looking from this side backwards, like, you know, it's so clear, right? And so just like trust that you'll be on this side going, I'm so glad I did that. Like, I don't regret anything, any choice that I made, you know, like just trust that you'll be on this end looking backwards going, good for you. You made the right choice.
I love it. I love it. Okay, now if you guys have any questions for them and you're like, oh, I didn't really want to ask in the panel, message any one of them. I believe and trust every single one of the clients that we work with to tell you their honest opinion. They're honest to God. This is what it's like, not to give you like the sales pitch, but to be like, hey, I'm going to answer it as honestly and as authentically as I can. So send them a private message. If you're like, ooh, I need to work with Leslie, or I need to work with Tracy, or any one of these people, message them and have that conversation with them too. I love when Clients with Purpose members work with Clients with Purpose members. You get access not just to me, but all of these people here as well. And if you want to book your Heck Yes Success call, I'm going to put the link again in the comments below, and you're going to be able to book that call. If you have not already, make sure you book that soon. I think we have maybe 5 spots left for a call. They've all like gotten like eaten up. And so it is going to be an awesome opportunity for us to really get clarity. It's not going to be a long 60-minute sales pitch. It's going to be a let's figure out where you're at and let's make the best next step forward for you, whether that's working with us or not. And I'm totally okay with that too. So I'm Sean Q, your high ticket sales coach. Can we give everyone on the panel a huge round of applause? They're amazing. Whooshes to you. And I will see you on the call. Bye, everybody.